CoCo Johnson, your Lady of Wellness. Join me as I address topics in all things wellness, from mental health, social disparities, and education, advocating for those who suffer in silence. Hi, I'm CoCo Johnson, your Lady of Wellness. Join me as I address different topics in wellness, from mental health, social disparities, and education, advocating for those who suffer in silence. Brought to you today by Rosa Sharon All Naturals, changing lives one tablespoon at a time. Today on the CoCo Johnson Show, we're going to be talking about food insecurities and other things that are harming our community with our special guest.
Hi, Craig Andrews.
Hi, Craig.
Good to be here, CoCo. So
Great
nice
to
to see
have
you again.
you.
So I'm proud to be here on behalf of the You Feed Them Missional Food Pantry to talk about food insecurity and hunger and just what we're doing to contribute to the community, giving back.
I'm glad that you were able to make it, and let's get to it.
Cool.
So, for the audience, can you explain a little bit about yourself and your background?
Sure. Yeah. I don't know how far back we want to go, but I came from a family of 6 boys in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, then moved to Indiana, went to Purdue, and then worked at R.R. Donnelley, which was a big company, for 23 years in operations, manufacturing. Started in Crawfordsville, Indiana, and then I went up to New York City to start up a new operation 2 blocks north of the World Trade Center, which was exciting. Ended up being there for 8 years and moved into customer service, got my MBA while I was out there, was promoted to a plant manager in Seymour, Indiana with them, which was an acquisition that we had made, and did that for a couple of years, and back to Crawfordsville where I started. During that 10-year stint, we were raising our 3 girls, and we wanted to kind of stay stable at that time. But I did get the opportunity to become what was called a cultural leader, cultural transformation leader, where I did a lot of leadership work with different plants across the world, actually. So, so that was a really neat experience that changed my trajectory a little bit in my career, because then I ended up joining ConAgra Brands and doing continuous improvement work, including the culture, leadership, organizational effectiveness work. So I did that up until December, and then now I'm starting my own consulting business, calling that 4C Excellence, and excited about doing that in those same areas I just talked about. So I've been married to my wife Sue for 40 years. We celebrated our anniversary last June, that big milestone. And I have 3 daughters and 5 grandkids, so they keep us very busy. Yes, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us a little bit more about your position at ConAgra. So some people know the brand, some people don't, but
Sure.
What type of products does ConAgra offer?
Yeah, good question, because unlike some other companies like Kraft or someone, we're not quite as, in the forefront of people's minds. But it's one of the largest food producers in North America. They produce brands such as Bird's Eye Vegetable, Hunt's, Orville Redenbacher Popcorn, Slim Jims, Marie Callender's, a Healthy Choice. So a variety of frozen food, snacks, and shelf-stable, like Chef Boyardee's a shelf-stable item as well. So numerous products that I think exist in 99% of the food pantries in America will have a ConAgra Brands product. So very proud of working there for 16 years. And my work there was I traveled around. About 75% of my time was traveling to other plants to improve their processes, reduce waste, and then improve the culture in their plants. So get employees more active, more engaged, leaders to be more effective in how they coach and lead people. Yeah.
Nice.
So it's good.
Cool.
Yeah.
So would you say that, so now you've been actually volunteering your
Yes.
services and your expertise and all you have to offer to the world.
Yeah,
So
thank
you've been
you.
volunteering with the You Feed Them Missionary Food Pantry. Can you
Yes.
tell us about that?
Yeah, we our church in Zionsville started to partner with Barnes United Methodist. The men's group got together and started just doing joint activities together, and we got to know each other well. And then I heard about the missional food pantry, which our church was starting to become active with as well. I always had a passion for service ever since high school. I was doing volunteer work. And often it gravitated, especially the last couple decades, being with Conagra Brands, our mission was around reducing food insecurity and feeding the hungry. So we partnered with organizations across the country. And so I definitely was passionate about that. And so got connected with the You Feed Them Missional Food Pantry and started volunteering there, and then ultimately was asked to be on the board. So I'm one of the board members. There's about 8 or 10 of us. And yeah, so not only what I liked about that mission was it's not just feeding them physically, but spiritually.
Yes.
So when they come to pick up food, they first meet with a prayer warrior, a minister who's going to ask about prayer concerns and where they're at. And so that's a really neat part of it. And lives are changed just in those interactions. So we have a bell that we ring if someone's accepted Christ for the first time. And so when those ring, it just gives me goosebumps that we're changing lives. And then we obviously can give them some food to take home with them. And it's a generous amount of food.
Yes.
So meat and vegetables, as well as some sundry things like toilet paper and things, but then lots of other shelf-stable products. So they're very appreciative. It's a great group. We always have a ton of volunteers. So really I get as much out of it as I'm giving, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how long have you been involved with the pantry?
Yeah, that's a good question. Probably, I'm guessing it's been close to 5 years, because it was before COVID, because they used to come into the building and we kind of did things differently. And then when COVID hit, it was more of a drive up in their cars. We do have some walkers that come, but the majority are coming in their cars, and we can put the food right into their trunks or back seats. So yeah, it's been before COVID. So I guess about 5 years or so.
That's great.
Yeah.
So when you started the mission, did you understand or know the capacity level of different people's needs within the community, as far as not only just the food, but in other capacity of needing different things?
Somewhat, but it's serving an area that's definitely has lots of challenges, I think, economically. And what I like is getting to talk to the people and having some time with that. And there was probably maybe a little bit more of that when they came in personally versus their cars. But I've gotten to know some of the regulars, and you hear some of their stories. And but again, their spirits are strong, which is always, again, just inspirational for me, of what their outlook is, even though their circumstance can be a little challenging.
Do you happen to know or remember any success stories? So you saw somebody start off and then now they're doing something different with their lives. Have you ever had the opportunity of experiencing a success story?
Yeah, well, again, when the bells ring, they're obviously being saved. So that's, there's not much greater success probably than that. But it's an interesting question, because there's times where you don't see someone come back. And so I'm always like, is that a good sign or a bad sign? Is it a good sign because maybe they're self-sufficient, maybe they found their job and they don't need us, or did something else happen that they're not there? So it's hard for me to say. There definitely have been people who don't come. And so in my mind, I like to think that, but I'm not sure if again, we were a springboard to help them get somewhere in some way or not. So
that's okay.
Yeah.
So in your while you were volunteering, and I know a little bit behind the scenes, you have been known to help some of those that are on, because the amount of food that they give.
Yes.
And you're known to take some of those items if they're walking to their homes for them.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Yeah, a few times, even when someone would come up on a bike, I'd put the bike in the trunk or in the van and put the food in the back seat and take them, especially when the weather was bad and that type of thing. And again, they're just super appreciative as I walk the food up to their house or set it inside their door or whatever. But that's where I got to know a few of them more personally, because you have some time in the car to chat about what they do or what their history is or what their prayer concerns might be and that type of thing. So so I really enjoyed doing that. Yeah.
Can you explain or tell our audience about the idea of the idea of the food pantry. So meaning that you don't have to be like without any income
Yeah,
to be able to partake in the actual activities or
right.
any of the pantry.
Yeah, there's no proof of need or anything like that
Mm-hmm.
that happens. And in fact, the one woman who I got to know pretty well, she was working. She did
Mm-hmm.
have a job, but
Mm-hmm.
just it was minimum wage kind of thing, and it's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
tough to make ends meet with that. So
Right.
this is just one less thing they have to worry about,
Mm-hmm.
and they can put their money towards other
Mm-hmm.
necessities that they have. Um, so yeah, people can again come as they need, and they're all welcome. So that's great.
So the pantry is offered when?
So the drive-through is what is it, third Thursday
Every
of the
Thursday.
month
Mm-hmm.
that we do the drive-through, and then there's two other big missions that the food pantry also has, or the You Feed Them mission of food pantry. One is we've been working with some of the children
Mm-hmm.
to understand financial literacy, and we give them
Oh.
some seed money so they can start to understand saving and the power of compounding interest, and they have incentives
Mm-hmm.
to participate in that. And it's been really cool to see kids putting money aside,
Mm-hmm.
and often they don't have those resources to help educate them about that
Mm-hmm.
and how to manage money. So that's a another service, if you will, that we provide.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a community resource day at the Barnes United Methodist Church. Was that September, August?
It's
So yeah,
mm-hmm.
August. So, which is a big deal. We have lots of services that come in that people might not be aware of, that they can get introduced to them. We give away shoes, we give away book bags, we grill out food that day and have a picnic. Sometimes there's a DJ there. There might be celebrities there that come. We've had some basketball players in the past, and we'll set up some other games and activities for the kids. So and there'll be several hundred kids that come to that, and families. And that really helps get them situated for the school with the book bags and the shoes and things like that.
So by providing those services, how do you think that is helping the community?
Well, I think it does. I mean, when we think about wellness, right?
Mm-hmm.
So wellness, there's physical wellness, so
Mm-hmm.
we can feed them that. But in my mind, the mental and spiritual wellness is just as important.
Mm-hmm.
So again, they can feel like they are loved, that people care about them, and again, that they're given a head start. Whether it's for school or just their spiritual,
Mm-hmm.
being. So I think that's how I think it helps the community with the community wellness and with the individuals. So what we're doing physically, spiritually, and then just even emotionally for them.
So your role as a board member is different from a volunteer. So you guys make like some of the sound decisions on what will be provided, how it will be provided, what are the financial backings of that.
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, how do you feel that additional help or additional resources will be able to supply some of these needs for like the shoes or the back to school?
Yeah, there are challenges, right? We're not the biggest food pantry for sure in
Mm-hmm.
Indianapolis, and there's lots of great ones out there, the Gleaners and Second Helpings, and
Mm-hmm.
and we have some partnerships and things with them.
Mm-hmm.
But we're constantly looking for donations, and God just keeps providing. So
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a store that steps up or another church that steps up,
Mm-hmm.
or in fact, Conagra Brands, again, their mission being to end food hunger,
Mm-hmm.
has sponsored, some of the food pantry with corporate grants. We'll get other grants that are available in the state. So a lot of time is spent on that by our founder and president, Lydia Davis, who spends a lot of time doing that work. Um, and the board will assist with that as well. But we'll look at decisions about, what there's so many opportunities. Should we go into this area, right? Like the financial literacy when it first came up.
Mm-hmm.
Not really food pantry oriented, which isn't our name, but we knew it was a need and it's something that we could help provide, and so we took that on. But those are the kind of decisions the board will talk about. We obviously look at the finances and how we're doing, and then just future, where do we want to go? We'd like to have a freestanding location. We'd like to have our own truck. We'd like to have our so. How do we start to position ourselves to do those things? The other thing that our founder is very involved with is launching other food pantries at other churches. And so we often have guests that come in and see how we do it, and then she'll go there and kind of get them started. So it's kind of cool to plant those seeds beyond just our ministry, but getting others going as well.
By planting those seeds, that allows people to not only have to not necessarily travel to one specific place, but
Right.
everybody's kind of on the same mission.
Yeah.
And so that helps with the insecurities that on the food deserts
Right.
that are
Right.
associated, and only because your food pantry is pretty much once a month,
Right.
there's an opportunity for others to
Yes.
be
Yeah.
able to serve throughout
Yeah.
the month. So that's
Yeah.
a good thing,
It is.
because in that area I've noticed it is a heavy food desert.
Yes,
Because
it is.
and can you explain what a food desert is?
Just usually you don't have good access to grocery stores and affordable food, and so you have to travel a long way to get there. And so that's part of the challenge in that area. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what the closest one would be, but
Yeah.
you'd go quite a ways to have to
And we're
find.
talking about what zip code area?
I don't know
Four
if that's
six two zero eight, I believe.
okay. Yeah,
That's in the center almost of right above downtown.
yeah, yep,
Okay.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it, and it is nice that there's other pantries that are going on throughout the week, throughout the month, right? That people can, because while we give them a lot, they probably need additional resources as well. So, and there's lots of places to go and get meals. I served at Roberts Park and Fletcher Place, and so again, there's fortunately there's lots of generous people here, and as far as wellness, like for me, or I think I can speak for other board members, this just feeds our soul as well.
That's good.
So I think part of my mental wellness and spiritual is giving back. But again, I get as much as I'm giving, but part of my balance for wellness is serving. So
And that's a good point, because we're talking about wellness as far as nutritional value, and I know that the feeding, I mean not the feeding, that the food pantry, specifically the goal is to feed them spiritually and mentally and
Yeah.
physically.
yeah,
And could you talk about, as we talk about wellness, and you mentioned how it helps you in your wellness, how others can start in a journey of giving back and showing and reflecting on how that helps them along the way of becoming better and be able to provide for their community.
yeah, yeah. Well, I've seen where people who are struggling with sometimes with depression and other issues, when they start serving, it just lifts them up. And so that's where, and again, for me, if I start feeling in the dumps, or it just gives you a new perspective on things. So I think it's really important that giving back, that feeling like you're there for the greater good and thinking of others versus yourself. And I think those are all very healthy things that people can be doing. So I know it helps me personally, and I've seen it help others as well. So as I'm kind of semi-retired, as I start my consulting, a big part of my focus was you don't retire from something, you retire to something. And my retire to, a big piece of that is serving others and volunteering, and looking forward to getting even more and more involved with that, because it is that point in life to give back, right?
Right.
So, and I'm blessed to be able to do some of that.
Have you ever seen any of the recipients come back and give back, like in volunteer
I have,
hours?
yeah, yeah. There've been a few that have done that, and so I've seen some of that at the You Feed Them food pantry. I think there might be more opportunity for that. So I'm actually glad you bring that up. We should talk more about how to be active with that and encourage that. I saw a lot of that at Roberts Park and Fletcher Place, where people would actually come and work in the kitchen, start to serve others who were in the line just a few months ago. So and I think people get a lot of gratification out of that too, and fulfillment.
So let's talk about this youth savings program, the
Okay.
youth literacy. So we've already addressed some topics with the adults and financial literacy, but I want to talk about some of the things that the whys, the whats, and the hows on the the financial literacy that the children come in. So do you know how approximately how many children that is in that program? How long it's been going on?
Yeah, it's been going on for a few years now. Um, I'm trying to think of the numbers, but
Approximately.
yeah, I think there's about 30 or so, but
Mm-hmm.
we didn't review that at our last board meeting, that piece of what we're doing. So, but again, it's just cool to see the excitement when they come in and or they get a statement to see how they're doing. So it's that's exciting.
And that's got to be a way of also showing that, bringing them up young
Yeah,
and managing money
yeah,
and how it works. And
yeah,
so that we can try to eliminate some of the need for some of the pantries
yep.
because that's the ultimate goal,
Right,
right?
absolutely, yeah. Or people just, yeah, going in debt, they just don't know, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Even when I was growing up, I didn't get a lot of education about the financial piece of
Mm-hmm.
being an adult, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it's easy to rack up credit card debt or
Mm-hmm.
to do this. And so yeah, I think planting those seeds early is going to be great for these kids.
Yes, and
So,
especially if they decide to go to college,
yeah,
which I know when I went to college, we were targeted for credit cards
yes,
and
absolutely.
had no backing besides, okay, you giving us these free t-shirts,
That's
why
right.
not?
Sure. Open up account and it seems so easy.
And
So,
so, and that would be a great foundation for them to understand that,
right, this is going to cost me, right?
right,
So,
in the long run.
yeah, and I need to be saving, and again, that whole idea of compounding interest and the value of that is huge. Um,
And
so
so,
yeah, it's been good.
and so the Missional Food Pantry, the You Feed Them, has been recognized by the mayor.
It has,
It
yes, and
has.
our founder has received some accolades on what she started, and so so yeah, we have a good reputation in the community, which is why we often get people reaching out to us, whether it's other services that might have excess, or want to set up a partnership, or stores that have heard about us. So
Mhm.
it's nice to have that solid reputation. And again, helping to plant these seeds with other communities is also, I think, helping with respect to our effectiveness and our mission. So yeah.
So, can you provide us with some tips or some basic resources as to if someone's watching us and they're in a place where they're just not knowing if this is the right thing they should do because they feel shame or guilt, or just give us some type of resources for those that are just on the balance of should I get in this line or should I just with my pride like wait it out.
Yeah.
Can you provide us with some comforting tips of those that not necessarily are going paycheck to paycheck, but they had a hard time in life and
Yeah.
things just happen. Life happens.
Yeah. Yeah. No, life does happen. So, um, well, I'll talk about it from two different perspectives. One is, um, I read a book last year called "The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse,"
Mm-hmm.
and in there, if you haven't read it, I would recommend you read them. A very quick read.
Mm-hmm.
And they've actually made it into an animation too on Netflix or one of those.
Cool.
But one of the things that I think the boy asked the horse, he says, what's the bravest thing you've ever done?" And the horse responds, "I asked for help." And help doesn't necessarily mean you're not doing well. It means you want to get better. Um, so I think that idea, if people have that mindset of going to get help, so whether that's for food or spiritual, interaction, whatever it might be, that's a brave thing to do, and and don't see it as a weakness, but as a strength, because again, it shows that you want to start a new journey, right? So I think that's important. And second, I mean, just to share something more personal, I've had a daughter who struggled with addictions and things like that, and recently moved to Indianapolis. Um, and I talked to her about the food pantry, and she's trying to get back on her feet and all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff that kind of comes with that. Um, and she made the choice of coming, and was blown away by the prayers and the spiritual aspect of it. Didn't feel humiliated, didn't feel embarrassed, felt very welcome and loved, and it just took care of an expense and a need physically as far as the food, but more importantly, spiritually, really had an impact on her. So I think, if you're looking for that, then take the first step, and you'll feel the love if you come through.
So today, well, not today, I should say 2023. Give me approximate of how many people that you guys helped.
Well, I know that we served over we had over $187,000 worth of food that we gave away last year. So that was that's impacting a lot of lives, a lot of families, and a lot of individuals. So on any given week, we'll have anywhere from probably about 45 to, we've had as many as like 90 folks that we're giving food to, and spiritually having some interaction with
And
as
these
well.
are families, not just
So,
individuals.
right, those are families. So if you figure, 3 or 4 per household, that's quite a few every month. So and again, some are regular, some are one and we don't see them again. Some come ever so often. So it's a variety, but definitely has a far-reaching, and not only that, but it can also affect, who knows. Just last week we talked about people who gave away some of their food to their neighbors or to another family member, right? So it's even going beyond that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
a lot of food.
it is.
It's a
It
whole
is.
lot of food and
It
a
is.
lot of impact. And
Yeah.
that's good. Do you have any tips that you can provide our audience on if they're struggling in areas of food insecurity, or any resources that will be, even if it's just the food pantry that you serve, but can you just provide us with those type of insights?
Well, there are a ton throughout the community. So whether it's even housing insecurity or food or a hot meal or whatever it might be, so lots of places that are available. And so the food. So if you come to our food pantry, we can definitely connect you with some other resources as well. And our community resource day has several services that are there that you can get connected with. So I would encourage people to do that. They can make the resource day in August.
Nice. Well, Craig, it was awesome speaking with you, and thank you for joining us today
Yes.
and sharing with our audience how they can either partake as far as a recipient or also volunteer, and why it's important to be involved and get the resources that are needed. And could you share, like, how do they reach the You Feed Them Ministries?
So we have a website. You Feed Them Food Pantry has a website that you can go to, and again, it has all of our services there about the Thursday pickups as well as Community Resource Day, the youth literacy. It's a good website, easy to navigate and get around there. So,
And then you're on social media, right?
yes.
Okay.
So Facebook presence there. Also, we post things on LinkedIn, so you'll see all kinds of ways to connect with us.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you for
You're
sharing
welcome.
with us
No,
and
it's a
taking out the
pleasure.
time.
It's a pleasure.
And thank you for our hosts and our sponsors, Rose of Sharon, All Naturals. They're changing lives one tablespoon at a time. Again, thank you, Craig, for coming out. And I hope that everyone out there learned a little bit more on how to become better in your wellness. Thank you.
You're welcome.
For them to have that future of being healthy adult individuals as opposed to hurt individuals.
Last thing, let's talk about this book, Miss Author. You are an author. You've already created a book. What was the name of that book?
Courageous Love.
All right, and what was that about?
It is a self-help workbook for families who have a loved one in addiction recovery and beyond.
All right, and what's the new one?
It is called High School Realities. It is a workbook for young ladies. It is a girl's guide on their transition from middle school to high school. So it's involving everything, including mental health.
And how can someone get in contact with you to get these resources?
Yeah, so again, Latanya Brown, you can contact us at leadingladiesindy.org. If you don't want to go to the website, you can feel free to email me at info@leadingladiesindy.org, or you can give us a call at 317-723-2117.
All right. So before we go, Miss Author, she just does so much in the community. It's crazy. I would like to thank you for coming on our show. I thank you for joining us today, and I look forward to our next conversation. And hopefully, we can pull her back in on our next show to talk more in depth about this suicide rate that keeps increasing with our teens. But I thank you for joining us today. Again, thank you to our sponsors, Rosa Sharon All Naturals. Changing lives one tablespoon at a time. Thank you, and see you next time.